Hello everyone and welcome to my show. I'm Melody Trice and I'm super excited that you decided to watch the show today. You know I'm all about living life unlimited, right? And one of the ways that we can live life unlimited is knowing different areas that you can live life unlimited in. You know, one of the things I think about is when we watch TV, especially one of my favorite shows, Godzilla. It has some effects that really blow my mind. Well, that's what my guest is going to talk about today, visual effects. He's going to talk about how those visual effects impact us. Because, you know, sometimes it looks so real, but somebody's behind the camera making it happen. So I want y'all to stay tuned because up next is my amazing guest, Money Vane, right? He's talking about that name right there already let you know something going on good, right? So y'all stay tuned, and after these messages, we'll be right back.
It takes all kinds of people to form a solid team. That's true whether you're playing baseball or you're fighting blood cancer.
We're looking for team players to join the Be the Match Marrow Registry.
We need all kinds of people.
We need everyone, from rookies to veterans.
We need lefties and right-handers too.
In short, we need you.
We need you.
Step up to the plate.
And be somebody's hero.
Join the Be the Match Marrow Registry today. Together, we can save lives.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Welcome Money Vane and welcome to the show.
Hey, Miss Melody. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. I'm like super excited. I'm like so excited. I'm rushing. But look, one of the things I want to talk about is all these visual effects because I used to get a little confused with graphic arts, but I know it's not. Can you tell us the difference?
Well, yeah, the big difference of graphics and also visual effects is the fact when the graphics is usually like what you do your lower thirds. It's consistent of doing movie posters, product designing, stuff like that. That's all graphics. As for visual effects, now if you ever see like the latest movie Jungle Book, the only real thing in that whole film was the kid. So everything in there was fully CG, which we call computer graphics.
Are you serious?
And yeah, it's all CG and everything like that. Like I said, everything down to the lions, down to even the trees were all CG, the water was CG, everything. So
is that hard to do with those effects like that?
It is. It's just a little bit more time consuming because there's a lot of like research and scientific studies that go into it because you're trying to mimic real life or real creatures that actually really exist and trying to also get them to work and play right on the film. So it has to read right because it's like, with the latest Star Wars and everything like that, you know, Rogue One, it was a big issue, and it was also big like controversy along with the film because, you know, one of the major generals in the film he passed away a while back.
Oh, wow.
So what happened was they literally digitally like recreated him in a CG face. So, and it was they had another actor came in, play the part, right, and then they went back and took a lot of like research data as photos and stuff like that and digitally recreated the guy.
So is that on green screen that the actor actually be on in order to get those visual effects, or how is that?
Green screen is used whenever you're trying to put a live actor into like a full like CG environment or CG like you know, what they're trying to create like different like aspects of like the film. Then CG works, you know. And that whole green screen thing will come to play, but usually most of the time it's like they have like real what we call mocap suits on like stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the little like, you know, suits with the little like balls you see them wearing, the gray suits and stuff like that. And then they have like
what that meant.
it's mocap, yeah. And then there's like little cameras that are facing into like little like you look like GoPro cameras that they're like wearing that's capturing the facial expressions of these characters, and they have these like black dots all over their face. So that's capturing all that information while this actor is performing, and that was like used. It was highly used in Planet of the Apes.
Wow. What made you want to go into that particular field?
Well, yeah, I started off as always being a really artistic kid, and it was like did a lot of traditional arts, and then tried my whole hand on the whole being on the production side, you know, because I wanted to be a director, and then eventually it was just kind of like more like I felt like my calling was more of like being in the whole like visual effects side of things, you know, like I like to digitally make things explode and, you know, and not get in trouble, you know, so.
So that goes along with the video games too, right?
Yeah, it's all in the video games too. Yeah,
wow.
We do everything from video. Both industry are kind of like relatable because you can like do all the explosions in video games and you can also like do all the explosions in CG too.
So what is your favorite film with the visual effects?
It would have to be Jurassic Park.
I love Jurassic Park. I can watch that over and over again.
Yeah, it's one of those great films that, as growing up as a kid, you know, watching for the first time in your life, and that was actually one of the films that inspired me was Jurassic Park,
That's
the original
good.
one. Yeah, because you know you're watching there as a kid, 5, 6 years old, and all of a sudden you see dinosaurs come back to life, and you're just like, wow, you know?
Yeah, I felt the same way when I saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And I still, to this day, I still love watching Jurassic Park. And I actually watched the recent one too, you know.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things too, how long do you spend the time on working on a project?
It really depends, and if you're on television, which episodic, or if you're doing film. Now, for film, you have like, you know, a bigger team, more apparently, because you have a lot of time to do research and development on like the different what we call shaders and fundamentals of these creatures and creature look development and so forth. So you're looking at about probably with a team like that, you get about like a good 3 to 6 months to work on it, maybe even to a year.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and then each day, how long would you normally spend on something like that?
It depends. It's 8-hour work day. Usually, like some shots, maybe one big episode of shots like that. That's probably like 30 seconds can take you somewhere along the line of 8 hours.
Really?
To probably even the whole week.
For 30 seconds?
For 30 seconds. We work in frames.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Frame per second
Yeah.
is something different.
Yeah.
I learned all that. I ain't, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time.
And then you really have to love to do that because there's no way you're going to spend that kind of time and then still only producing, you know, such a small, because it's a perfectionist pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Everything, because you, even like the smallest little, if the smallest little detail was to go off, you would notice. The art directors would notice, and then the producers would notice.
So one of the things too, when you were talking about the episodic, which is TV, what are some of the shows that actually have visual effects in it that's TV?
Currently, you're looking at like shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is like superhero heavy. You know, shows, even like the smallest little shows like MacGyver, even the Exorcist, down to the Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a super heavy VFX show. You know, they get years, like months to do their visual effects, which is why everything looks so great.
It's very pretty on all of them.
You have like shows like on the CW, which is like The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, like everything has like CG in it.
So even the twitching of the eye and how it move and all that is all visual effect.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, sometimes, I mean, it could even be that, you know, what visual effects isn't like just like the big CG stuff. It could be like, hey, like they shot something, they don't like it, they want this to be replaced with something totally different. You're doing like set extensions. You're sitting there literally like removing boom shadows and shots. You know,
wow.
Yeah.
So it goes deep.
Yeah, and that you can see a lot of that was done like what we call the hidden effects was done in Forrest Gump. Oh. Yeah, like Lieutenant Dan's legs, the way all that stuff was done. Yeah.
Really?
The digitally replacing the time. And movies that had to do with like a lot of like time period pieces, like are all that, you know, those buildings no longer exist. So it's like all that set extensions, all CG.
So all that, wow.
Yeah.
So they don't have like, you know how sometime on the studios they have those different buildings that make it look like it's, you know, during that time. It really save a lot of money then because you can't really, you know, graph that back up, you know, but in visual effects you can make it look like that.
Yeah. And and The Walking Dead, you know, like all those destructive cities like are all set extensions.
Wow.
So,
You just blowing my mind right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I was thinking that it was some place on Earth that actually looked like that, but it was like, and they had a whole lot of actors to. So you telling me when they have all those people that look like a lot of people, those are like visual effects stuff?
Yeah, like probably like the first like 10 people in the roles are all real, and then like everything else behind that is all digitally.
Oh my God.
Like created, like the zombies that get their heads split off. Like some of them are actually the real ones. Yeah.
Because you just broke my little heart. I was thinking like, wow, it's a lot of people got work. Oh my God.
Now if you look at the films like Marvel's First Avenger, the very first Avenger film, the only real prop set was probably a good little like sound studio. Everything was all CG. Whole New York City was CG.
Wow. And I think that's amazing that somebody can even know how to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do your brain conjure up how to put something together like that?
Well, there's a lot of like you have like departments in the art directing, you know, that goes along with it. So you have like art departments that go out and actually take photoreal pictures of different sections in New York. They'll do fly-throughs. They'll take what we call HDR, high dynamic range images, which is now then used to capture the light information that are put back into the scene onto these CG buildings.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
Like,
technology is moving.
Yeah.
Like literally, you don't even have to leave your, because they, with the GoPro, they can just, fly places without you actually being there?
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's like so many new technology, especially in the industry itself. Like CG, you can like digitally do it and you can fly to cities in VR and virtual reality now. So you can like put on a goggle. If you want to go to Paris, you're in Paris.
Really?
Yeah, you can like go, like the joke is like you can be using the bathroom, sitting down and be on top of the Himalayas while doing it.
You ever did that?
Yeah, well, we tried a couple times, but you know.
What I'm talking about, like, you ever had the visual effects?
Yeah, sometimes it get really scary because it's like, I mean, they do now with a lot of like that to try to help promote films and stuff like that, yeah.
That's amazing. That's almost like, make me think about the 3D, you know, the 3D filming they're doing now, where you're able to see, I guess, all different angles.
Oh, yeah, 360?
Oh, yeah. So, see, you know, like
Yeah, that's all that virtual reality stuff too, and like there's films like they're testing a lot of that new technology out too. So
wow.
Yeah,
so what would you tell someone who actually want to go into visual effects? Because I know some people who really do look, you know, up to stuff like that. So what would you tell to them?
well, I'll tell them to keep at it. You know, art's kind of like math. You know, you get better as you practice. So you just have to constantly practice, and constantly. Like just literally stay humble and just ask people who are in the industry if you can shadow them or get the opportunity to just have a little conversation with them. And you know, nitpick people's brain about how they do things and just be open-minded. That's the only way you can actually really learn, because if you think you know everything in this industry, you're just like, you're cutting yourself off because it's always changing.
Wow.
Technology is changing way too fast.
So tell me how people, because I want people to make sure they can, you know, check out you. So tell them what you want to know so they can keep in contact with you.
Okay. Well, you know.
Your social media.
Oh, social media wise, yeah. You can catch me at the Art of Money Bang. That's my website. And then I also have my Instagram, which is the Art of Money Bang, and pretty much everything Art of Money Bang, all the way down to Facebook. Or you can catch me on Facebook just as Money Bang.
Money Bang.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm just delighted. I just cannot believe that all this is happening. Well, I'm gonna have to have you come back because
we should have just done all this in CG. You know, this is all CG back here right now.
CG.
We're not even on a set. We're on a boat right now.
Ooh, that's exciting, y'all. Like you look forward to that, because I'm gonna look forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Okay, y'all, thank you so much. I want you to stay tuned, because after these messages, we have another amazing guest. And make sure you just check out Money Bang and all his amazing visual effects. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
And welcome back. I have with me actor Dominique Pace. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Thank you. You're looking super sharp, by the way.
Thank you.
That's what an actor looks like. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is what really made you want to become an actor?
I think ultimately it's the adrenaline rush. I was an okay athlete, but it was nothing compared to theater. And when I was 16 years old, I played Danny Zuko in Grease, and there was an adrenaline on the stage that I could not compare to anything else.
I know, it's like real.
It's electric. It's just amazing, and I just continued on from there. I went to the William Esper School for 2 years in New York City. I started off Broadway with Tony and Tina's Wedding, and then I had a Miramax film in 1997 when I was 23 years old, and The rest is history, just character actor over the last 15 years, everything from guest stars in NYPD Blue to NCIS, Desperate Housewives, and now currently a recurring role on NBC Superstore.
Wow, I know recently you just worked with Divya Washington.
Yeah.
So tell us how that experience was.
It was funny because in between takes, it was just a little featured bit, but in between takes, it was hard not to get teary-eyed. Because, you know, there's so many years where you hustle and you work hard, and just to be in his presence, there's a way that he works, and I'll tell you, you can hear a pin drop on set that everyone is so respectful of his work and who he is. And there's no ego, there's no, you know, oh, the king is coming. It's just more of a level of just ultimate respect. But just in between takes, you know, the first AD tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "You're going to be in this, just so you know, and this is, you're working." It was just so hard to stay in character because just how many, you know, years it took to just get to this point. It was just absolutely amazing. So just really honored to be on that project. It's called Inner City, and it's a film where I think he plays a blue-collar lawyer, and I think it just exposes sort of the criminal system, specifically for minorities in Los Angeles. So obviously, I'm sure it'll be another amazing performance by such a gifted actor in our time.
So tell us what you think about the fact of an actor having the ability to play those different roles.
You know, I think you have to be 110% comfortable with yourself. I think that comes over years, but there are certain people that are just so genuinely gifted where you're able to feel it in your heart just at the drop of a hat. And to be able, and I think just in life, whether you're an actor or you're not an actor, just to be able to still, as much as I hear people, you know, in relationships or just in life in general, we put those walls up, but to try to keep those walls down, because in the end, you're going to have a much more fulfilled life in relationships and friendship and everything else, just to have that heart where you're able to keep it vulnerable, and also as an artist to be able to show so much beautiful work.
Oh my God, that's just touching right there. And that's what you're supposed to do as an actor, right?
Absolutely.
Is touch the heart of the people.
Yes.
That's why I believe Denzel is able to do what he do.
Amazing.
You know, and one of the things, tell me this, what is your favorite show that you liked actually being on?
You know, as a kid, as a guy, as a boy, you know, we used to play in our backyard. We used to play cops and robbers and everything else. That came true for me on the project Prison Break. I was in the 4th season, and they had me squibbed up, you know, with blood packets and guns and everything else. And I was speeding on this Range Rover down an airport runway. So it was a little bit of the action incorporated with performance, but it was something to where my initial dream was of being an actor was also all the excitement and the action of it all, you know. So that in general was just absolutely amazing experience, and to be with all the lead cast. It was a hit show on Fox for quite some time.
Wow. Tell me this, one of the things that people are always talking about is competition in the industry.
Sure.
And I know earlier you was talking about the fact of people knowing who they are and the fact their surroundings, like they're raising, and they're not putting people in a stereotype.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about the fact of a person knowing who they are so they know exactly where they belong in this field.
It's a gray area, because the thing is, being Italian American, I think it's the perfect example. Because a lot of times you can argue that the mafia is, in a way, it's admired and it's appreciated, but at the same time it sort of has a negative stereotype. If you were to take the Latino gang or an African American gang, all of a sudden it would be like, hey, this is a little bit of an issue, I'm concerned with this. I think it's a fine line, because I think Hollywood needs to depict life, but also at the same time we need to evolve each and every culture to make sure that you're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, you know, I'm a doctor, you're a doctor. So I think we need to stay true to what we see in life, but at the same time, there's no question we need to progress a lot more together as a people.
Because you know something, one of the things too I don't like is that they pretty much typecast you too.
Yes.
You know, and then it make a person feel like, okay, I can't do no more because I'm an African American woman.
Right.
Well, you know, I could play other parts. I could be, you know, I could actually be the lead character because that's what's happening.
My favorite teacher, her name was Susan Batson, African American woman, and she worked with Spike for many, many years, and she was a member of the Actors Studio, a brilliant actress. And this is an African American woman coming up in the 70s and 80s, and she was completely revered. But she was going in for the maid. She was going in for, you know, whatever sort of a condescending character in life, and she got to a point where she just kind of stepped away. But it was not Hollywood. It was her choice. There's no question. I mean, there are those things. But the other thing is, another one of my teachers was Robert Townsend. And there's something to be said about literally getting it done yourself, to where, as opposed to saying and putting the blame on Hollywood, it's saying, you know what, I'm going to write this script for myself.
Exactly.
And there were so many actors who do that. Stanley Tucci in particular, you know, somebody I admire as an Italian-American actor. He did that for a movie called Big Night. And it was the same thing, to where he kept going in for mobster after mobster. And there's a certain point to where you say, okay, we can blame the system, or we can also hold ourselves accountable and do what we need to do in order to progress our career.
So I wonder who actually depict who becomes what, you know, like what particular, okay, if you see the African American man,
Sure.
he should be a gang person, or,
Right.
you know, if you see a Latino man, he's the mafia,
Right.
you know, like who did that?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like did Hollywood do it, or
Yeah.
who actually was the person that said this is what's supposed to happen?
I mean, the issue is that the powerful, it's still a limited number of people. So whether
So small at the top, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, there's your answer. It's really in that regard. But again, what can we do about it? Now that we have more independent film, now that we have these venues and these outlets as opposed to just NBC, ABC, and CBS, we're able to have that voice, and we're able to be heard. And when there's talent, it will be recognized, in my opinion.
And one of the things, too, I know that you give away a scholarship to some people, some young people
Yeah.
who have talent. So tell us a little bit about that.
I started in 2011. My grandfather, William Taglieri, was just such an angel. He was sort of my father figure growing up. He was a World War II veteran. He's from Yonkers, New York. And he passed away about 5-6 years ago. And his dream was always to become an artist. But you take the Depression, you take World War II, he had to leave high school in order to support his family. He never had that dream. So even though I didn't have the opportunity to give it to him when he was alive and in any way, shape, or form, I'd like to pay it forward. So I started this grant. It's a $500 grant to go on to Ossining High School, as my alma mater, to a senior who's going to go on and pursue the arts. But this year I extended it to a music store. It's this beautiful couple, the married couple named Mike and Miriam Risco. They started their business in 1997, and this year we're going to give the grant in his honor so that they can pay it forward to a child who may not have the privilege, just like my grandfather did, to maybe pursue the arts there.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
commend you for doing that.
Thank you.
And I think, you know, if a lot of us pay it forward,
Yes.
it will actually benefit so many more people, because we all need somebody to help us.
Without question. And the thing is, especially as artists, you know, when you're an athlete, I mean, things are so, you're so highly revered in society. But the thing is, as an artist, you're very unique. And especially during those younger years, it's hard to sort of find your voice and find, you know, who you are. And I think the more support you can get from the outside community or established actors or whoever, I always think it's such a blessing. I'm happy to be able to give back to the community there.
That's good. Oh, you're a community. I think that's amazing. Because, you know, we have to help the community. Like, that makes me want to do something for the community I come from, you know, because somebody got to give back.
Well, that, and then also the other thing about my town was there was just so much diversity. And the other thing, and what I loved was that whether you were Italian, Irish, Jewish, African American, Puerto Rican, by the coaches, teachers, by the small business owners, we were all treated equally.
Oh, that's amazing.
So Ossining in particular, it's one of those specific reasons why I always hold it so dear in my heart. And throughout my career, no matter how much I progress, it's something where I always want to be able to give back to them as much as I can.
Well, tell us about the new projects you have coming up before we have to go. I want people to know about some of the new things you got coming up.
Absolutely. Superstore has been renewed for a third season.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. And I just got back from Atlanta in January. It's a movie called Ernie and Serby. And it's about Cupid and Eros, and basically what
Love,
it is,
right?
Right. Yeah. But Cupid, he's getting tired of the love on Earth. We've all these short-lived relationships, women getting their independence, men going off and straying. So he wants to experience a different kind of love. And what the story focuses on is a love between a foster parent and a foster child. His spiritual mother sends him to the orphanage as a boy, and basically it's like Touched by an Angel, where he's touching these children. The love and making that connection between the foster parent and the child. It's really a beautiful project.
Oh my God.
And it should be out hopefully later this year, maybe Netflix or Amazon or such. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this. Tell me how people can stay in contact with you and research you so they can like keep in contact.
Absolutely. Dominic Pace, whether it's Twitter, it's Instagram, Facebook, feel free to reach out. And even for young and up-and-coming actors, I'm always happy to just sort of lead out an open hand in case they have any questions they have in terms of getting involved in the business there. So.
Well, tell me this. What would you tell someone in order for them to live life unlimited in that particular arena that you're in?
I think to put, if I were to go back, less of the emphasis on casting directors and agents and more on the personal relationships with directors and producers. And also zero ego, zero attitude whatsoever. I had the privilege of being with Hugh Jackman for about 3 months, and he was the ultimate, I mean, in terms of actor and movie star. And when he comes to work with a positive attitude, even Will Smith on a new Netflix project called Bright, positive attitude, hard work ethic, and really hungry and passionate, the sky's the limit for you.
Wow, that's a lot though. Because once a person do that, people want you to come and work for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why they want you to work for them, because you're an amazing person.
Yeah.
And I can tell it. You know, you can just see it in a person and you can see their career progressing. So I'm telling you, you just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you,
because
Mama.
it's impacting more people than you know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So you all, I thank you all so much for tuning into the show. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have been inclined from both of my amazing guests, Money Vane, talking about visual effects, and Dominique Pace, who is this amazing actor. Oh my God, make sure you follow him on all his social media. And make sure you follow me on all my social media. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm your girl, Melody Trice.